it's MJL. So here in this video, I will be speaking about continuous tenses. So which are of two categories, the simple continuous and the perfect continuous. So if you have not watched my video yet on simple tenses and perfect tenses, I would suggest that you watch them first before you come to this video. Okay, so granting that you have watched those two videos about simple and perfect tenses, we now come to the continuous tenses. Let me first tackle the simple continuous. Let me start with the present continuous. So this present continuous is a tense used to describe an action that is occurring right now, at this moment, today, this year, etc. The action has begun and is still in progress, so it can be occurring now, but it is temporary. So that's the use, or that's the indication of present continuous. So how do we form the present continuous? We form the present continuous by having is, are, am, or the be verbs before the ing form of the verb. I repeat, you can have the be verbs is, are, am, and then they will be followed by an ing ending verb. So that's how we form the present continuous. Simple present continuous. Let's take a look at the example. She is typing a paper for her class. Is typing is our verb. Notice that it is introduced by a be verb is and followed by typing, which is an ing ending verb. So this is an example of a present continuous verb. What does that mean? That right now, the action typing is being done. Another example, she can't talk. She is fixing the sink right now. Is fixing. So our verb is introduced by a be verb is and is followed by fixing, which is an ing form of the verb. Is fixing because our subject he is singular. So if you have a plural subject, then you will use are, not is. And if your subject is I, it will be paired with am. Okay? So that's the present continuous. Now we come to the past continuous, or we can also call it the past progressive form. So when do we use the past continuous or the past progressive? The past continuous is often used with the simple past to show that one action was in progress when another action occurred. For instance, I was taking a bath when the doorbell rang. So was taking is our past continuous or past progressive, and it is accompanied by another past action, which is rang. Let's examine first the past continuous was taking. So how do we form the past continuous? We form the past continuous by having was or were plus the ing form of the verb. So what differs past continuous from present continuous is the verb to be introducing a group of words for verbs. So for past, you will have either was or were. Was for singular and were for plural. In this case, in example 1, I was taking a bath when the doorbell rang. You have was taking because you have I as your subject. So if you change, for example, I to they, then you have now a plural subject. So you will not retain was, but you say they were taking. Okay? So that's how we make our subjects agree with the verb. So for past continuous, we form it by having past be verbs, either was or were, plus ing form of the verb. Now, in this example, we have two verbs. The question is, can I have only one verb and still use the past continuous? The answer is yes. So, for example, you can just say, I was taking a bath, period. And that's a sentence in the past continuous tense or past continuous form. Another example. They were eating dinner when the neighbors stopped by for a visit. So, were eating is our past continuous because it is introduced by the be verb were and followed by an ing form of the verb. So, past continuous. That's how we form it. Now we will tackle the future continuous or the future progressive form or the future progressive tense. When do we use this tense? This tense is used to describe an event or action that will occur over a period of time at a specific point in the future. So how do we form this tense, the future progressive or future continuous tense? We form this by having will be plus the ing form of the verb. For instance, I will be teaching ESL 40 at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Our verb is will be teaching. So you have the will be with an ing ending verb. So that's our formula, or that's supposed to be the pattern. Another example. They will be moving their furniture out of the house by the time you arrive tomorrow. Will be moving is our future continuous. You have will be plus ing form of the verb. So that's how we form our future continuous or future progressive tense. So pretty much we have covered the simple continuous tenses, namely the simple present continuous, the simple past continuous, and the simple future continuous. This time, I will now talk about the perfect continuous. So for perfect continuous, we also have three: the present perfect continuous, the past perfect continuous, and the future perfect continuous. So let me begin with the present perfect continuous. When do you use present perfect continuous? You use this tense to describe events that have been in progress recently and are rather temporary. So in this example, she has been living in Taiwan for the last 2 months, but she plans to move soon. So although the action has started sometime in the past and up to now it is still happening, but that's just temporary. The condition may change. So that's one condition or that's one situation in which you can use the present perfect continuous or present perfect progressive. Now the question is, when or how do I form the present perfect continuous? You form the present perfect continuous by having has or have plus been plus ing form of the verb. That is, has been or have been plus ing form of the verb. So recall, when do you use has been? You use has been for singular subjects and have been for plural subjects. And you have the ing form of the verb. So that's why in this example, she has been living in Taiwan for the last 2 months, but she plans to move soon. Has been living is used because our subject is she, singular. So if we change she to they, then this has will change to have. So they have been living. That's how it is. Let me now tackle the past perfect continuous. So when do we use this past perfect continuous tense or this past perfect progressive tense? This tense is used to emphasize the duration of an action that was completed before another action or event in the past. Recall in my previous video when I spoke about past perfect tense, in a sentence, there were two past actions. So that's how it is for past perfect. So for past perfect continuous, it's the same thing. There are two past actions, and the past perfect continuous is used to indicate that of the two past actions, this first past action is occurring before another past action. So let's take a look at this example. She had been driving around the city for 3 hours before she finally found the right office. Had been driving is our verb. It's in the past perfect continuous or in the past perfect progressive form because we have the had been plus ing form of the verb. That's how we form our past perfect continuous. Had been plus the ing form of the verb. And that had been plus ing form of the verb is constant. So regardless of your subject. So if your subject is singular or plural, the same form will be used. Had been plus ing form of the verb. So that's it for our past perfect continuous. Let's move now to our future perfect continuous. When do we use this tense? This tense describes an action that has been in progress for a duration of time before another event or time in the future. Again, recall in my previous video that for future perfect tense, there are two future actions in your sentence. It's the same thing for future perfect continuous. Two future actions, and the future perfect continuous indicates that this action is ongoing, in the first of the two future actions that will happen. So, for example, you say, by the time he finishes law school, we will have been living in the US for 8 years. So, two actions. The first one is the finishing, and the second one is the living in the US. So, which happens first, or which will happen first? It's the living in the US which will happen first, and then it will be followed by the finishing of law school. So, here, you will be seeing perfect formation, future perfect continuous formation, that is will have been plus the ing form of the verb. So, will have been living. We will have been living in the US for 8 years now. So, will have been living is also constant. Whether your subject is singular, that will have been plus ing form of the verb pattern will remain constant regardless of your subject. So in this example, we have we as our subject and our verb is will have been living. What if I will change we to she? If you do that, that means your subject becomes singular. So you would still have will have been living as your verb because our pattern will not change regardless of the number of our subjects. So you can say she will have been living or we will have been living, and both are correct. Okay? If you like this video, if you got something valuable from this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Yes, don't forget to hit that tiny bell so you will be notified of my next video. See you in my next video, guys. Bye!